This is Michael Popok, and it's After Dark. Do you know where your legal AF is? Donald Trump continues to manufacture evidence against him in all of his criminal cases. This is one of the reasons the prosecutors didn't want to put too tight of a gag order on him, because Donald Trump continues to put his foot in his mouth and into criminal liability right up and through the first day of trial and beyond. On the campaign trail, I assure you that the Department of Justice is using consultants and advisors within the department to scrape all of Donald Trump's comments on the campaign trail during his rallies, during his interviews, in order to continue to build their case against Donald Trump. It all goes to mens rea, or criminal mind. When Donald Trump says, hey, there was a crime committed on January 6th, I just don't know who did it, that goes into the pot of evidence against Donald Trump. We talk about it on Legal AF, the podcast. Take a listen.
So I don't just want to talk about the past crimes. I want to look to the future to show you Donald Trump's ongoing conduct. And we could just kind of call it out and be descriptive of what's happening in the future as well, not just retrospective. So take a look right here. Here are certain speeches that Donald Trump gave this week, and we could just show you why he's involved in so many criminal cases. So here, Donald Trump giving a speech in Walker, Michigan, and then he gave a speech at Trump Tower as well earlier in the week. These are supposed to be campaign speeches, right? Where you tell the American people what you're going to do for them. Social Security. What are you going to do with healthcare? What are you going to do with the economy, infrastructure, jobs, things like that? And you should lay it out in a great deal of detail. When I show people the Vice President Kamala Harris speeches, we show you what her plans are. Tax cuts for small businesses, tax cuts for families, stuff like that. She went to the border. She rolled out a very comprehensive border plan that Donald Trump wants to kill and tried to kill and did kill before, because he thinks that chaos is a winning issue for him under the authoritarian playbook. But here's what Donald Trump's talking about. Here's Trump on Pelosi in Walker, Michigan. Let's play this one first.
By the way, did you see yesterday, 2 days ago? So I'm not much into this stuff, but Visa crashed because the government went after. The government filed a big suit against Visa. Nancy and her husband sold their stock the day before it was announced. Nancy Pelosi. So why don't we get some AG somewhere like in a Republican territory? And why don't we get them to do a little investigation?
And then over here, he says that Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted for January 6th. Play this clip.
And Nancy Pelosi has a little problem because her husband sold their Visa stock. They had a lot of Visa stock one day before Visa was announced that Visa is being sued by the Department of Justice. Think of that. Nancy Pelosi sold vast amounts of Visa stock one day before the big lawsuit that we all read about a few days ago was brought against Visa. You think it was luck? I don't think. She should be prosecuted. Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted for that. And she should also be prosecuted for J6 because she turned down 10,000 or any number she wanted, soldiers or National Guard. And I hope you all read John Solomon and what John Solomon wrote 2 days ago.
You know, and just think about that there. You have the leader of a major political party, one, spreading lies, but two, saying that he wants to have attorney generals or anyone that he can exercise control and authority over weaponized against his political enemies. There's a point there, though, where he talks about that she should be prosecuted for January 6th, which to me is a self-own and frankly what we would like to call an admission against self-interest that certainly would come in a criminal case. And by the way, it's a statement of a party opponent. He's a criminal defendant. So statements like that will come in the criminal prosecutions of Donald Trump by special counsel Jack Smith that we'll talk about in a moment as well. But finally, as part of this trifecta that I want to show you, Michael Popok, I want to show you what Donald Trump was also doing this week, where he was selling $100,000 watches. He put together an infomercial. Like you remember, I remember growing up, it wasn't all that long ago, where they would have like whatever it was, like the 5-minute abs or like sham wow or sham woo or whatever it would be. And Mike Lindell, made his money. That's why Donald Trump likes the guy so much too. Selling the pillows for $9.99. I'm going to get you this. I'm going to get you this. Trump's taken that to a whole new level. The leader of the Republican Party, Donald Trump, we've covered this before. Right after Butler, Pennsylvania, what did he do? He sold assassination edition sneakers with his image on it that says fight, fight, fight. These are assassination edition sneakers. He sells the coins. He sells the NFTs. Now he's selling a $100,000 watch. And I also want to reflect from a legal perspective why this is significant as well. But here's the infomercial. He goes, you got to go to TrumpWatches.com, $100,000. You're not going to want to miss this. Here, play this clip.
Special. I think you're going to love it. My new Trump watches. We're doing quite a number with watches, and the quality to me is very important. The Trump Victory Tourbillon. This isn't just any watch. It's one of the best watches made. It's a tourbillon watch with almost 200 grams of gold and more than 100 real diamonds. That's a lot of diamonds. I love gold. I love diamonds. We all do. Only 147 of these extraordinary watches will ever exist in the world, and owning one puts you in a very exclusive club. I have watch number one, and I'm going to keep it. It's mine, and that's the way I want to have it. Each watch is numbered and extremely rare, a true collector's item, and it includes a personal letter signed by me. Get your Trump watch right now. Go to gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
It says you'll be a part of a very exclusive club. That's notable. Then when you go to the frequently asked questions section of the website, the question is, will I be getting the exact watch that I see on the website? Answer, the images shown are for illustration purposes only and may not be the exact representation of the product. In other words, what you're being shown is not the watch that you may receive. They may just send you anything. Another question is about the shipping dates. When will they arrive? Shipping and delivery dates are estimates only and cannot be guaranteed. We're not liable for any delays in shipments. They may come in October, November, or December, but they're estimates and they can send to you whenever. Can I buy my items with credit card or crypto? Yes, buy the Fight, Fight, Fight watches with credit card or Bitcoin, so you can buy it in ways that are hard to trace. And as I said, Michael Popok, dig deeper into these $100,000 Trump watches and think about it. You can buy with Bitcoin, hard to trace. Foreigners and foreign entities can also buy this. That's one of the things that it says. The photos on the site are not actual watches. They're just illustrations of what one might look like. And there's no guarantee when or if a watch will ever even arrive. So just say it raises lots of red flags. Sorry for that long build-up there with all of those videos, but I think it's so key right now that we start thinking about 2025 and 2026 and the various schemes that are emerging and percolating now, as well as the evidence that Donald Trump's continuing to create against himself now. Popok, break that all down for us, sir.
Yeah, okay. That's called a hospital pass. That's where you throw it over the middle to the receiver and it gets clobbered. All right, I think I can do it, though. Let's start with the watches and work backwards. I love the fact that in that video, maybe Brett, who's working with us today, can put it back up. There's a 1-point font at the bottom that has that disclaimer that you just talked about, that these are for representative purposes, illustrative purposes only, not representative of what you may actually get. You're already at late night TV when you see these kind of infomercials. He also has this weird affectation. Besides that sniffing, snorting thing that Donald Trump has developed in his old age, he now has this weird way of overemphasizing the wrong syllable or the wrong word. Diamonds. Who doesn't like diamonds? I mean, he's getting to be a characterization of, sorry about that. So you weren't ready for that, Popok. Diamonds. And who doesn't love gold and diamonds? They made him a mock. There it is. It's like a 1-point font at the bottom. And then even though they had in their disclaimer that you put up earlier, we may need additional information information from other customers, i.e., we have things like Bank Secrecy Act, anti-money laundering requirements, and the Patriot Act that tries to stop, things like money laundering from happening, which is, of course, it's ripe for that when you're asking for Bitcoin. It's another way to skirt the federal election law and campaign contribution laws, while the Department of Justice, I'll call it what it is, the Biden Department of Justice is working overtime trying to keep foreign influence and foreign donations out of our election system because they are illegal. What keeps Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice up at night is, and Merrick Garland looks like he hasn't slept, is the October surprise being Russia, Iran, India, even some of our frenemies trying to influence the outcome of the election. And here you got a vulnerable, a compromised candidate in Donald Trump, financially compromised because of his failures in the business community and the judgment of $500 million, whatever that's going to end up being, we'll talk about later. He's compromised because of his own narcissism and his own ego. Flattery will get a dictator anywhere with Donald Trump. He's compromised because even his own former deputy FBI director said it recently that he believes he's a turned asset for Russia. I mean, this is remarkable things that you and I need to talk about on a Legal AF podcast about a presidential candidate and former president that the intelligence community believes is a Russian asset. And here he's opened the door. You want to influence me? you want to put money in my pocket, in the pocket of my family's? Here's an opportunity. Buy $100,000 gold bullion watch or whatever the heck it is. Let's turn to Nancy Pelosi for a minute. There is no evidence. There's no evidence for anything he says out loud about Nancy Pelosi. There's no evidence at all that the reason that Paul Pelosi sold a couple of thousand shares of stock in his portfolio had anything more to do than just trying to rebalance his portfolio as he comes to the end of the year. He didn't sell out his entire position. He sold a portion of it. I don't know what percentage of it, but if you have any type of portfolio and you're coming towards the end of the year, you want to start taking profit, or you want to start rebalancing and putting in different things. The Visa stock has done, frankly, I'll put my Wall Street hat on for a minute, has done well over the last 5 years. It's up 50, 60%. Over the last year, up 6 or 8%. And he hit it at a peak where it was up, not down. Now, Donald Trump doesn't understand up and down when it comes to stock prices because his stock price arrow only goes down. And goes down further after 8 million out of the 20 million shares out there with co-founders got sold a couple of days ago. The stock is still hovering at $14, but it's heading down past 10 and even 5, I think, based on the fact it is nothing more than a penny stock. It's a Potemkin village. There's absolutely nothing behind it. No economics, no nothing. And this is why I don't know why I don't even know why some of the polls, like the Times poll, is even as close as they are. I don't know why Donald Trump is just completely in the trash with supporters, because when I've never seen in my life, I can't determine if I were just looking at it like I was like you have that Alien show. If I just came down from Mars and you just showed that Martian the Twitter or social media feed for Donald Trump, the official of social, not a parody account, and you said, tell me what this person is trying to do for a living. And you just saw gold coins silver coins being sold, gold watches being sold, sneakers being sold, a couple of attacks about Kamala down at the border, dogs and cats being protected by memes, and then back to the cryptocurrency. And now we're back to what you'd be like, I don't know, he's a late night snake oil salesman. Like, no, he is the candidate for one of the two major parties for the presidency. And this is less than 40 days before the presidency, where every bit of his effort should be in trying to win the campaign in some way. And instead, he's just trying to make his family and him financially better off than they were 4 years ago, to use his own slogan, by setting them up. You got Jared Kushner, which I've done a hot take on, who's got a $3 billion fund that's returned no profits to the Saudi government or to anything else in the Arab world. Yet he's earned hundreds of millions of dollars of fees for the Trump family. Another way that foreign influence is trying to curry favor with Donald Trump. As to the last lie that you raised about Nancy Pelosi, the lie that he continues to perpetuate because corporate media doesn't hold his feet to the fire on this, and they don't. Whenever they get him in a question and answer, which is rare, they think Kamala Harris isn't sitting for enough interviews. Donald Trump's sitting for no interviews except for these fake campaign stops with Newsmax or Fox News or some podcaster. That's it. He does not take questions, because the question that needs to be asked is, sir, isn't it a fact that your own Secretary of Defense, Chris Miller, testified to the Jan 6 committee under oath that you never gave an order whatsoever to bring out any National Guardsmen during Jan 6? You had a discussion about it in your waning days of your administration, but you never gave an order, not for 20,000, not for 10,000 National Guardsmen, not for 0 National Guardsmen. And this is the part you said about, which I liked, I wrote it down, about all of the investigations that haven't yet gone to trial, all the prosecutions that have not yet gone to trial are active, live prosecutions, meaning Donald Trump continues to make new evidence every day against himself in the cases that are being prosecuted by the special counsel and other prosecutors around America. Until they go through trial and there's a verdict, it's an ongoing investigation. And I am sure, it may even rival MeidasTouch's newsroom run by Ron. I am sure there is a group of 100 or 200 young professionals that are attached to the Department of Justice, that all they do all day is plug in the social media feed, the rallies, the speeches, the X tweets, social media posts of Donald Trump to scrape them for use as evidence against him in his trials. For instance, when he said finally admitted out loud that what happened at Jan 6th wasn't a Capitol tour gone awry. It wasn't led by loving patriots that are now political prisoners or hostages. It was a crime. It was a crime scene, what happened at Jan 6th and the attack on the Capitol, the siege on the Capitol. He just wants to blame Nancy Pelosi for it. But he's already admitted mental state. He's already admitted that it's a crime when he says she should go to jail for what happened. I thought Jan 6th was just a walk in the park, Don. I didn't realize it was a crime scene. Now he reminds me, I did this on a hot take, Ben. He reminds me of O.J. Simpson, the late O.J. Simpson, who used to regularly go on podcasts and news interviews, and he would say he'll put up $100,000 reward for the killer of Nicole Brown Simpson. I always wanted to phone in and say, I've got it, OJ, it was you. So for Donald Trump to say, it was Nancy, the only thing that Nancy Pelosi ever did, and it's been taken completely out of context, is like an adult. She in a documentary that her daughter prepared said that after the attack happened, in retrospect, she should have, working with the Sergeant of Arms of Congress, should have been better prepared for the siege on the Capitol. But to blame her and to argue that she's the criminal is the equivalent of a family who has their house set on fire by an arsonist being charged with a crime because they didn't do enough to get out of the burning house, and the arsonist goes free. Donald Trump's the arsonist. And the quicker this justice system, and we'll talk a lot about a major development, almost startling, in the DC election interference case, the sooner that happens, the better. Welcome back, and find out what 40 million people a month already know, that Legal AF is the home of law and politics analysis and commentary like no other. And we've got a new channel on YouTube in collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network that I'll be curating, called Legal AFMTN for MeidasTouch Network. It's like when Microsoft and NBC got together and made MSNBC, we got Legal AFMTN. I'll be sitting at that same intersection of law and politics and bringing you all the stories and commentary that you know and love, with new voices, and also with the regular commentators from the Meidas universe that you've always come to enjoy. Join us, Legal AF MTN, and free subscribe now. So until my next Legal AF, every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on this YouTube channel and on audio podcast platforms of your choice. This is Michael Popok, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.